Do you know the difference between seals and sea lions? Newport, Oregon happens to have both, so you can spot the difference in real life. At Yaquina Head Lighthouse, you'll see harbor seals nap and raise pups, which, by the way, peak pup season is coming up in May. Or you can witness the loud and chaotic frat party made up of dozens and dozens of rowdy California sea lions on floats along the bayfront. And if you're just like, I don't care about seals, but you love seafood, Newport is the Dungeness crab capital of the world. Not to mention, it's just a lovely drive down along the coast. Plan your trip now before the crowds hit at discovernewport.com/citycast. That's discovernewport.com/citycast. Pivot Property Management is a small local commercial property company in downtown Portland that's deeply invested in the future of downtown Portland. They're focused on building community and long-term relationships with their tenants. They're hands-on, responsive, and actually have their main office downtown. So if you're a business owner, nonprofit, or entrepreneur looking for a space downtown, or a building owner who wants local community-minded management, check out Pivot at pivotportland.com. That's pivotportland.com. Let's make downtown what we want it to be. Our city's downtown has been the topic of a lot of conversations, from its post-pandemic implosion into open-air drug markets and homeless encampments, to our state and city leaders intervening with emergency declarations and developer-friendly policies. Everyone has got something to say or a new idea that could turn it all around. But even with all of our combined efforts, downtown foot traffic is nowhere near pre-pandemic levels. And ironically, office buildings are staying vacant while we continue to struggle through a housing crisis. So today on CityCast Portland, we're talking with two local leaders who represent our central city, District 4 Councilor Olivia Clark and District 3 Councilor Steve Novick. We're talking through the mayor's ambitious new plans for downtown, what's already in play, some crazy new ideas that just might work, and why it's so important we continue to invest in our urban core. But before we jump in, a big thank you to today's sponsor, Pivot Property Management. It's Tuesday, February 17th. I'm Claudia Meza, and this is what Portland's talking about. Before we jump in, I want to know what your idea of a perfect evening downtown is.
I had one Saturday.
Okay.
I went to one of those candlelight things, the candlelight performance. I think it was Vivaldi at the Mark, next to the Art Museum. But it was great music, great crowd, very diverse crowd. But the really cool thing was I walked outside and there were billions of people downtown. It was like so many people. I think it was that.
Billions.
There was like the Winter Light Festival.
Oh,
and so
yeah,
there were
yeah.
so many people wandering around. And a bike ride with people lit up, and it was so exciting. That was kind of a perfect evening.
That sounds awesome. What about you, Councilor Steve Novick?
Well, I was thinking that one of my best evenings downtown was going to see John Oliver's stand-up at the Keller. He was just absolutely amazing. I don't think that we had dinner downtown that night, but what I would like, if I could do it over again, I'd like to have dinner at Higgins and then go to see John Oliver at the Keller.
Oh, that's perfect. One of my favorite things to do, no matter what I'm doing, is to end it at Abigail Hall. It's this really cute little bar. It's a hotel bar, and it almost feels like a speakeasy because you have to go through the lobby. You're like, I don't go here, but, And it's just such a nice little bar. Just a heads up if you guys ever want a nightcap.
By the way, I need to represent the East Side, so I'd say,
of course,
the Central East Side, I'd have dinner at Nostrana and then go see the Dolly Rots at the Twilight Cafe.
Whoa.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm glad we're here because I had some questions. So immediately during the Oregon Leadership Summit in December, Mayor Keith Wilson, he set several ambitious economic and housing goals for the city to reach by 2030. Almost all of which were centered in our downtown core, which you two represent, like bringing downtown foot traffic back to pre-pandemic levels, filling something like 2 million square feet of empty office space, and hiring 24 more police officers focused on preventing business break-ins and burglaries. And then also somehow building 2,500 new housing units, again, in the city's urban core. Your districts 3 and 4 make up our city's urban core. Mm-hmm. So my question is, How is that going to happen? Because here's the deal. That's a really ambitious goal, but you two are part of the team that actually makes the policy that makes the stuff happen. So have you heard of anything aside from this ambitious goal, like anything else that's coming down the pipeline that you're like, oh yeah, this is why this is possible?
Well, Claudia, it is happening. I mean, I would say that progress is being made. Definitely on foot traffic. More people are downtown. There's more activation. So I think we're winning that slowly. I don't know about the housing units. Maybe Steve knows.
So, I mean, on housing, I mean, one idea you always hear is converting downtown office buildings to residential. Councillor Clark was just telling me for how few buildings we really think that's possible. However, Calgary, Canada is apparently like leading North America in terms of doing that. So I was thinking after some of my colleagues went to Vienna on a housing related trip that maybe I should have a boondoggle to Calgary and find out how their office to residential thing is going.
Just not in the winter.
Yeah.
I want to go back to something that you asked about the downtown and housing. You know, there's a huge project coming at the old post office. You know, the side of the old post office is called the Broadway Corridor Project. That's going to bring lots of new housing to the downtown and really stabilize that part of downtown and help the linkage between Old Town, the Pearl, and the central downtown. That's on its way.
Yeah. I don't think I've heard of that. So that's something that I'll probably have to check out. Who's checking?
Well, Prosper Portland is sort of the lead,
Gotcha.
and they have a whole plan for different levels of housing affordability, open space. But they tore the old central post office down, so that's been sitting there as a vacant lot for quite a while. And there's a plan to redevelop it. And I think we're going to get an outside investor finally to invest in some of the housing there. So that's exciting.
That is interesting. I know that Prosper Portland had some incentives to get more people into certain corridors downtown and also on the Central East Side, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But I also just wondered if there was any policy work already enacted that is helping set a foundation for some of the ambitious goals that Mayor Wilson and the thing about what he said is like these goals of revitalizing downtown, it's been happening. People have been talking about it since like right after the pandemic. So, it's not like you guys are expected to come through and fix everything. There have been incentives before, there will be incentives after. I'm just curious, like what's going on right now.
I think that the Bureau of Planning and Sustainability is planning to do some rezoning, particularly in their Inner East Side. There's this concept called Inner East Side for All, which would allow for more housing to be built in a vibrant area. And I'm not sure this is actually underway or if this is a concept, but some people have talked about rezoning parts of downtown to allow for light industrial, for maker spaces. There's a whole bunch of like maker businesses in Lloyd Center that are going to lose their location fairly soon. So there should be places for them to go.
Right.
Downtown.
Yeah, exactly. And just to go back to the things we need to activate downtown are like parades, these kinds of things. I know that you both were part of our 503 Day last year, which we had in the Ankeny Alley. And it was so much fun to see so many people out. And I feel like downtown is ripe for these kinds of ideas. And like Portland, like it's ready. It's ready.
Exactly.
It's a canvas for you. If you want, I feel like it took almost no prodding from us to be like, hey, can we do this? And you guys were just like, yes, do it now.
Oh, that's great. It was really fun. That area is going to pop because of the Paris Theater, too. The Paris Theater is reopened, and they brought burlesque back to Portland. And I think they're hoping to call that the Pink District. I think it's going to be really hopping, really
That's
hopping.
going to be awesome. Pink box donuts, pink
exactly.
the burlesque. It's going to all work together.
That's right.
So, since you mentioned Ankeny Alley, my staff would kill me if I didn't mention that Ankeny Alley was established when I was the transportation commissioner back in the day, when PBOT was under the leadership of Leah Treat. Another kind of revitalization idea, Andrew Proctor of Portland Literary Arts has this idea of taking the annual book festival, used to be Wordstock, and converting that into not just a book festival, but a book/music/food festival inspired by the Miami Book Fair, which also includes vocal artists, et cetera, et cetera.
Wow.
So he's been talking to that to like other people in the art space, and Travel Portland is part of those conversations, and the city's part of those conversations, learning what we could do to help make that happen.
Oh,
I
that's
love
awesome.
Andrew Proctor. He is so great. He's, that literary arts is like one of the biggest in the country, I think. It's
Yeah.
amazing. It's amazing.
I went this year and I had so much fun, and I don't even know how to read. Well, let's take a quick break here, and when we come back, we're going to talk more big ideas for downtown. The South by Southwest Innovation Conference takes over Austin, Texas from March 12th through the 18th. And for that one electric week, the city becomes a playground for boundary-pushing ideas, world-class networking, and emerging technology. So it makes sense electric auto pioneer Rivian is this year's headlining sponsor. This is your chance to gain real access to new ideas, people, and opportunities that don't happen anywhere else, which also includes access to the best breakfast tacos and barbecue this world has to offer. And I know they're not an official part of the festival, but it's definitely a perk. Expect the unexpected at South by Southwest. It's an experience built on connection and the thrill of seeing the future first, as well as drinking margaritas before noon without judgment. Trust me, nobody cares. And you can get a 10% discount on your innovation badge when you use our code CityCast10 at southbysouthwest.com/Portland. That's SXSW.com/Portland. Terms do apply. Start planning your adventure today.
Spring buying season is here. If your 2026 goal has been to finally buy something for yourself in Portland, you've got to be fully prepared. Local mortgage lender James Adair will set you up with the mortgage plan you need to buy the home you want. James's certified buyer pass can help you write tighter, more competitive offers to beat out cash buyers and negotiate the market with maximum leverage. Real estate is what you own, but your mortgage plan is how you own it. Let James show you how the right plan can create a massive financial lift. Visit pdxhomeloan.com to learn more. James Adair, NMLS 272766 with Better Mortgage Corporation, NMLS 330511, an equal housing lender.
So I know the previous city administration had passed some incentives to, as we were discussing, revitalize our downtown core, like the Downtown Business Incentive Credit Program, which I think might have expired this year. It was a $25 million temporary non-refundable tax credit designed to incentivize commercial lease signings and lease renewals. Did anyone just sort of figure out if that actually worked?
I don't think there were any takers.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm laughing. That was an easy answer.
Sorry.
No, nobody took it.
Well, not quite nobody. I think number I heard was 1.8 million of the 25 million was actually used.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Well, I also know that in early 2025, Prosper Portland partnered with the Old Town Community Association to fund a pilot project called No Vacancy to help fill some of the empty storefronts in that neighborhood. One of the projects was supposed to turn the windows of vacant buildings into exhibition venues for Portland artists, with the intent of boosting foot traffic and community engagement in that neighborhood. Where are we with that? Because I feel like the last time that I saw OPB reported that had mixed success.
I think there's been a little bit of turnover in the leadership of that project. And I'm starting to wonder if the tariffs aren't affecting it, because they were looking at having shoemakers and others come in from other countries to take up space there and do innovative things with shoe wear.
We do need more of that, I gotta tell you.
More shoes, or
which is all of it.
Well, I had an opportunity to tour some of the buildings, and the rehab they've done, the revitalization is fantastic, and so I think it's really an ongoing effort.
Mm-hmm.
I think the title might have been a problem, because No Vacancy was the name of the band that unfairly beats the School of Rock band in the movie School of Rock, so it has a negative connotation.
Do you think that's what made it unpopular?
Novik, you're amazing.
You know what? You might have a point there. I also heard that they might be looking to, No Vacancy, I mean, not the band, is looking to bring people from the Lloyd Center who might be displaced into that area. So I know that is also an ongoing project. But are there any other incentives at play that I haven't brought up that you're just like, this is the kind of a cool thing that's being discussed or is happening?
Well, can I just say citywide, I think the small business program is taking off. And that's not just the downtown, but in different small business corridors throughout the city. That's happening. And the downtown will be included in that. And that's going to be assistance for small businesses that's coming from Prosper as well as from PEMO, the Portland Environmental Management Organization. So there's some good news on the horizon for, I think, for small business. At least I'm hoping so.
The mayor has proposed taking $15 million out of the Portland Clean Energy Fund and use that to subsidize developers converting office to residential buildings. I'm not totally sure I'm sold on the idea that's a good use of the Clean Energy Fund. And I don't know if it'll work. I don't know if there's many opportunities, but that is a specific example of an incentive that the mayor is talking about offering.
Yeah, whenever we start talking about the Portland Clean Energy Fund, I sense a lot of tension that happens where people are just like, oh, I just don't know. Because that had a very specific goal in mind, and it is being used in a sense as like, I'm not going to say slush fund, but I did.
It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money.
Yeah, but I get it because we need it. We need money, and there's a lot of money.
Yeah.
I am very excited about the possibility of, office to apartment conversions. But we've also had a lot of people on the show basically say why it's not impossible, but nearly
difficult.
So
really
difficult. And it almost makes more sense to just raise buildings and build them to code. And so that's a question mark that I'm looking forward to someone answering, like, how are we going to do that?
That's why I brought up the Broadway corridor, because that's going to be a lot of new housing right in the downtown. It's a good thing.
We're probably going to come up with more incentives or whatever, but do you think these types of incentives, is that something that we just see as a part of a long-term shift in how we operate with downtown and our urban core?
Oh, boy. I don't know. If they're not working, why should we continue? Or maybe we're just not hitting the right incentive. I don't know.
And the other thing is, to the extent the incentives are property tax breaks, that's a tough trade-off because property taxes are the city's primary source of revenue for police, fire, and parks for the general fund. So when we're looking at huge budget deficits, the likelihood of making severe cuts to those programs this year, the idea of coming up with more property tax exemptions is a little daunting.
Right.
Can I just say that if we actually invested in more public safety and made people feel safe, we keep activating the downtown, if we can change our reputation. I think we all know it's getting better. We need to show the rest of the country and the suburbs that it's getting better. But I think that's part of just feeling safe. That activation is part of public safety as well. That's going to help turn things around.
100%.
Yeah, I can see that being a big part. I will say also that a lot of the safety does come in numbers. You guys have probably already heard this. My pitch, give downtown to the artists. Just hand it over.
You mean the storefronts, the first floors?
Just give it to them. Just let them do it. The gayer, the better. This is what ends up happening. It's just the way gentrification works. And I know that's a dirty word, but you give the neighborhoods that people are just like, we don't know what to do here. And then in come the artists, and then soon come the investors. And I know that there's people at home just throwing stuff at the wall and just like, we don't want Portland to be sold. But I'm just saying, it's either, do we want 1 million cops or just do we want a bunch of drag queens? I would rather have a bunch of drag queens.
We can't have both.
Can't you have drag queen cops? We should.
Exactly.
Drag cops, the musical.
Cops and drag.
That is the future that liberals want. Drag cops. Steve Novick said it first.
This is not really the same thing. When you talked about giving downtown to the artist, I've been meaning to try to get hold of the guy who bought Big Pink and ask him to turn the first floor of Big Pink into a museum dedicated to the Bob Dylan and the Band album, Music from Big Pink, featuring such classics as Long Black Veil. So at some point, I'm going to get in touch with him and pitch that.
That's going to save downtown, Steve. For sure. Yeah. That's it. That's the one.
I don't know if we were going to get to this, Claudia, but there's a lot of cool things that are coming to downtown.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not just the James Beard Market that everybody's been talking about, which is going to be cool, but there's also the Flip Museum is moving downtown. It's like a children's museum. The Lansu Garden is going to expand. There's a comics museum now. I don't know if you've been to that.
Oh, yeah.
Comics museum, totally cool. And there's going to be a Park Blocks expansion to the north. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff that's on the drawing board that's coming for the downtown.
Mm-hmm. You know what we should do? Like I'm part of the team here.
That's okay. No, we're going to hire you. We're going to bring you in.
I'm like, you know what should happen here? There should be just a day where there's free museum entrances to all the downtown museums and kind of get like a little punch card, you know, involve some people who make foods and drinks and make it worth people's while to go down and check all the really, because I know the new cartoon museum, it looks awesome. We had some people
totally cool.
come on and talk to us about it. It looks, yeah. But let's take a quick break here. We're going to take another one. And when we come back, we're going to dive in. We want more ideas for activating downtown. So one of the reasons we're all talking today is because of a contest we put together last year with local downtown commercial property management company, Pivot Property Management. Basically, we asked our listeners for ideas on what to do with some of the vacant storefronts that they had. They came to us and they're like, hey, we have these storefronts. Can your listeners tell us what they want? And we'll see, you know, we'll figure it out. We'll figure out like what to do with this. So it was really cool. The winning idea actually came from Natalie Kay, where she pointed out that there was dozens of nonprofits currently located at the Lloyd Center that are going to need to vacate in March, and where are they going to go? So I know that inspired some more ideas on what could be done with empty downtown storefronts. So I'm curious if either of you had any crazy off-the-walls ideas that haven't been said yet. I know, I mean, we already heard.
I know. Drag Cops was pretty good.
Drag Cops the musical, I think, will save us. But is there anything else? This is a brainstorming session. There are no bad ideas.
Well, I like your idea of the punch card, actually. And I've been to the Lloyd Center and seen really the excitement over there. So bringing that downtown is a great idea. I don't know whether we can put everybody back together in the same place, though. But that's part of the fun there, is the synergy of having everybody together in one building.
But that's what it was. It was low rents,
Yeah.
like low rent that created that enclave and made what we call the punk rock mall. And that's what I'm saying needs to happen in downtown, is like we just, you know, give it to the artists. I mean, obviously they're going to have to pay rent.
I mean,
but that's what I'm saying.
if the city owned a whole bunch of buildings downtown, then we could literally go to the artist,
right.
but we don't.
No,
Yeah.
we're not, and we're not going to buy them either.
Yeah. All right. Out. That idea's out. Anything else?
Well, have you been to the Rothko, Claudia? Have you been to the art museum and seen the new Rothko Pavilion? That is
Yes.
totally cool.
It is so awesome. I was there during one of the soft openings, and it was so much fun. Yeah, I had a friend who was playing music, you know, and there was just music everywhere. And that's another thing, is like, what if we had more live music downtown?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We are looking at retooling the waterfront. That you ought to have a show on that. Is what's the future of the waterfront park? Because there's
Yeah.
going to be some action around that.
There's also the idea of having a night mayor. Have you heard of that? It's not a night like a dream, like a terrible dream. Night pause mayor. We've had that idea. We've knocked it around, and other cities have basically a person who is dedicated to nightlife. And when I think of downtown, I think of a lost opportunity. I
Yes,
feel like
yes.
we're not known for our nightlife, and we could be.
Well, you know, it's interesting that you bring that up, because we talked about that today in the Arts and Economy Committee, about bringing back the nightlife that we used to have, because a lot of places are closing at midnight. They used to be open till 2 or whatever. And we're looking at that, and other cities are doing that. We're looking at those ideas, and how do we create that environment so that businesses, bars, whatever, will stay open again, and we'll have more of that nightlife. We actually discussed that today in committee.
Cool. You know, I had forgotten about the idea of a nightmare until you just mentioned it. But my first reaction when I heard the idea was that back in the day, France had a minister of culture named Jack Lang, who was known as the minister of rock and roll. So having a similar position in the city, I think actually Jamie Dunphy and I talked about that like a year ago. So I'll bring it up with him again.
That's
Yeah,
great.
just somebody who is accountable in the sense of like what's going on and brings those ideas to you guys, and there's more communication because you guys are so busy in the daytime. We need a nighttime version.
Yeah.
You know? And it makes sense to have someone there that's talking to the businesses because a lot of those businesses can't wake up to get to whatever or
Yeah.
are too busy to go
During
to
the
council,
day.
you know? So they have their one person that they
Well,
talk to.
I want to give the mayor some credit, though, because not only is his truck here all day long, morning to evening, he's out doing stuff at night all over the city. He may
Yeah.
not be the night mayor, but he's out there working. It's amazing. He's always going to meetings. He's visiting businesses. Amazing.
And I wanted to mention that we do have night council once a month, which
Do you?
which
We do.
Dan Ryan referred to at one point as Council After Dark. So I think that at least one night we should have Council After Dark that looks like Council After Dark, where we wear tuxedos and cocktail dresses and
Oh my
drink
God. I love it.
martinis as we do the city's business.
I think that's wonderful. Just one drunk council meeting is all we're asking for.
You know, things might get better. Really,
They
it
might.
might improve the mood. Yeah.
Maybe we should insist that the next council president election we all have to be drunk the whole time. That might help.
Just that's it. Just or how about this? If we cannot vote, we all take another shot. Like stalemate,
Ooh.
another
Ooh.
shot, another
A
shot.
challenge. I like it.
Until people start dropping, and I think you'll get to the vote sooner. Okay.
You know, that's true because the council president gets elected by a majority of those present. It doesn't have to be 7
exactly.
votes.
That's what I'm saying.
So
Awake.
you could get down to just like the 3 people still awake and have a 2-to-1 vote.
If you can't handle your liquor, you can't govern here in Portland. Okay, I have another question here. If either of you could open any storefront downtown, what would it be? This is like the dream of like, all right, I'm quitting.
any
You know, on the worst
storefront.
day of council, you're just like, screw this. I'm gonna go make hats or whatever. Like, what is your dream storefront?
Oh my goodness. You know, I grew up in a diner, so I don't want to do that again.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, the whole family worked in the diner, so that's a very difficult business. All you restaurateurs out there, I feel your pain. But I don't know, maybe like a lingerie store. I don't know, something
I
really
love
sexy.
this.
Something sexy downtown. Yeah.
Something sexy downtown. I love it. What about you, Steve?
This isn't really a storefront, but I'd love for the Galleria to have a grand reopening where the Galleria
Oh.
is filled with like maker spaces and cute little shops and, you know, just
Yeah.
have it be a place that people want to go through, which I think it used to be like 25
Oh,
years
yeah.
ago.
Well, why don't we put the Lloyd Center people in there? In
There
the
we
Galleria?
go.
You know?
Yeah, I don't even know who owns the Galleria.
I don't know
Who owns
anymore.
it? Let's see, the Galleria.
Who owns that?
Unico Properties. Unico, get at us.
Yeah, I have great ideas, Steve.
Well, what kinds of storefronts or spaces do you think are lacking right now in downtown that would help activate?
This isn't really a storefront, but you know, we become a center of knife making,
Mhm.
and we should have
it's true.
we should have something that celebrates our, you know, us being the knife capital, like a knife museum.
Mm.
And we should bring Daniel Craig from Knives Out to the opening of the Knife Museum. Actually, Councillor Clark and I have a one-off idea that we think might inspire people to come back downtown, which involves having a parade and having a bunch of hundreds of people going through downtown singing a particular 1964 hit song by Petula Clark. So we're going to sing that for you now.
I want to
Okay.
hear it. Okay.
When you're alone and life is making you lonely, you can always go downtown. When you've got worries, all the noise and the hurry seems to help, I know. Downtown. Just listen to the music of the traffic in the city.
Hey.
Linger on the sidewalks where the neon lights are pretty. How can you lose? The lights are much brighter there. You can forget all your troubles, forget all your cares, and go downtown. Things will be great when you're downtown. No finer place for sure. Downtown. Everything's waiting for you.
Oh my God, Olivia, you have a voice on you. I mean, so
Oh.
do you, Steve. I'm not, but
No,
I'm just, but she's hitting those notes.
Olivia insisted that I sing too, but Olivia is the one who's actually sung at Carnegie Hall. And I need to add, by the way, Petula Clark, I think she's 91 years old. She's still
Oh.
alive.
Oh.
She lives in Switzerland for the skiing. So I kind of hope we can get Petula Clark herself to come out and sing with us.
Let's do it. I mean,
Yeah,
why
let's
not?
do it. Yeah,
Let's do
totally,
it. Yeah.
totally.
Wait, hold on. You sung at Carnegie Hall?
Yes, I did last year. Yes, with my choir, actually. It was really a cool thing. Yes.
Oh my God, what's your choir called?
Aurora Chorus. Yeah, and we went with the Portland Symphonic Girls Choir.
That is
And
so
that was
cool.
really super. It was a great experience. Yeah. No, I like to sing. I sing, at weddings and retirement parties and things like that.
I'm loving all of the celebrity guest polls that we're going to have for our downtown. We got
Petula Clark and Daniel Craig together again
Yeah.
for the first time.
Oh my God, Steve, you are such a cultural diva. Like, it's amazing.
I'm stuck in 1964, but
Well, there is that.
Well, I really appreciate both of your time. I wish we could just hang out, talk some more, but I know you guys have to get back to work. If you guys ever have more ideas, because I know I just threw a bunch of questions at you, and just so you guys know, listeners wherever you are, they don't know the questions I'm going to ask them. Sometimes I do get emails from people being like, "Oh wait, this is what I meant." So if for some reason we get another idea,
We're in trouble.
We will post it. We'll make sure that it's represented.
Thank you. This has been really fun,
Yeah,
actually.
thank you
really
so
fun.
much.
We don't laugh this much at City Hall.
Well, if I was hired as a nightmare,
Oh!
it would probably be a nightmare, and I do mean that as a dream, the bad dream.
but you are volunteering?
Oh, yeah. Stricken from the record. Let me also say, if anyone has any ideas, downtown is what we make of it. Please hit Portland at citycast.fm. Let us know what you're thinking. Get involved. Our counselors want to know what you're thinking. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure you guys will eventually start getting more meetings and stuff around these types of conversations, and let us know when you want our listeners or us to connect y'all, because we would love to.
Thank you. Thank you so
Thank you
much,
so
Claudia.
much.
Yeah, this has been great.
That's all for today here on CityCast Portland. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed the show, share it with a friend or rate and leave us a good review. It really helps us out. And don't forget, you can support this show and get some great perks by becoming a CityCast neighbor. Just visit membership.citycast.fm for all the details. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more from around the city. Until then, see you with Slims.